Before we get out of here, I just want to take a second to talk about Texas Tech women's basketball. You're welcome. If you don't care, you're welcome to head out. You're welcome to leave. You're welcome to stop watching. There's obviously, not a lot of people that are watching there are many people that are watching this show that live in Bloomington or go to IU and are surrounded with that, and maybe don't care about Texas Tech basketball. But I watch this team. There are 3 undefeated teams left in NCAA women's basketball. Texas Tech is one of them, but they're ranked number 17 in the AP poll. The others are number 1 and number 5. It's UConn and Vanderbilt, which is interesting, right? You're undefeated at this point in the season. You've won over 15 games. You're number 17 in the country. Their overall resume isn't all that impressive, so that's totally fine. I'm not disagreeing with the ranking. That's not my point. It just caught my eye. Undefeated team at number 17 in the country still. As Texas Tech, as a Big 12 team, certainly worth noting. Their most notable win was by 1 at number 15 Baylor. Their most convincing, or at the time, number 15 Baylor. It's mostly just convincing wins over inferior competition. One of those I watched. I watched them play Houston the other night. Houston's 0-5 in the Big 12, and they were able to hang around. We saw from Texas Tech reasonably consistent and effective offense, but nothing super outstanding, nothing super mind-blowing. Houston defended well and had some runs. Texas Tech was still the superior team, but it kind of felt like they were coasting and cruising to a victory, so I wasn't super impressed. But again, they weren't asked to blow the doors off a team. They weren't asked for their best effort, and I'm not saying they didn't put in their best effort, but they weren't asked for their very top of the line best performance ever against an 0-5 in the Big 12 Houston team. But nonetheless, I think they're vulnerable. I kind of feel like I feel about Texas Tech the same way I feel about Nebraska men's basketball, to where they're undefeated, but they've had some close games, some close wins against good teams, but they feel vulnerable. It feels like they're going to be maybe not exposed because they're obviously still very good, but they're going to get popped at some point by a team that they probably should beat. Iowa State's a great example, right? They kept winning. Iowa State women's basketball, I should say. And maybe the men's team too, as they lost to Kansas. I didn't watch that one, but it's a convincing enough margin to maybe raise some eyebrows. IU women's basketball, they've lost their 4th straight in a row now. They kept winning early in the season. They looked good. They were winning by noticeable margins, but it was kind of a thing where, it just felt like they were going to get popped eventually. They were going to lose eventually. The flaws that existed were going to be exposed eventually, and now they very much are. And I don't know if it's going to be the same intensity with Texas Tech, but I think it's going to happen at some point soon. They have future opportunities to kind of grow their ranking. These next games, unless they get exposed, or not exposed, but unless they get popped, like I'm saying, against Kansas State, BYU, Utah, right? All teams that are good, but in theory, Texas Tech's far better. Unless they get popped in one of those, they're going to have a couple opportunities to lose, but also opportunities to win against number 19 Iowa State and number 10 TCU. They play both of those teams at home. So not a whole lot of tricky opportunities for Texas Tech. And obviously, there are tricky games. It's the Big 12, but this team could just keep winning, right? Their 2 toughest games coming up are at home. They have to go to Utah. That one might be, I really like Utah, so that may be the one they lose, but still, number 17 Texas Tech could just keep winning and rise up the rankings that way as a team that is maybe undervalued, maybe properly valued, depending on what they end up being at the end of the season. But right now, undefeated number 17 Texas Tech is catching my eye on the women's basketball scene. I'm just interested in them. I can't tell if they're real or not. I can't tell if they're as undefeated as they are, just in the sense of we'll see how many wins and losses they end up with at the end of the season. Maybe they end up with 7 or 8 losses, and we say, okay, it was just kind of a fluke at the beginning of the year. But I'm interested in them. I'm interested to watch them. They'll probably be a tournament team. I wonder what seed. I wonder what they do in the tournament. Texas Tech's catching my eye. I'm interested in them, especially because there's not a clear game that they are going to be favored to lose in the next few games, especially considering they have their next 2 ranked opponents at home.